amazing people. Good, more welcome to this episode. Today we'll dive to the second chapter of this fantastic book that, in my life, made the major difference in the economic part of my life, how my life unfolds. And the chapter two, the name of chapter two is "There's the Science of Getting Rich." It's very close to the main title. And I want to start from the very beginning that a lot of people think that some people get very great results in life, some others don't, and there is something there is what we call luck, good luck to do. I remember my mentor told me that Stefan, success is a science. There's nothing. It's nothing to do with good or bad luck. Science, which means that it's predictable. It leaves traces as well as failure leaves traces, and you can follow successful people, follow the traces, and you will get equally successful. So success is a science, 100% predictable. And here I will quote for you from page number 7 from chapter 2, what Wallace Waters talk about financial success. He says here, there is a science of getting rich. It's an exact science, like algebra, arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once a person learns and obeys these laws, he will get rich with mathematical certainty. You see, they are the laws. Where there is law, there is no space for random events. Then, he says, the ownership of money and property comes in results of doing things in a certain way. Thus, who do things in a certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, will get rich. Thus, who do not do things in a certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, they remain poor. It's a natural law that like causes always produce like effects. Therefore, any man or woman who learn to do things in a certain way will inevitably get rich. There is nothing, I think, that I need to add to this. It's so plain, it's so clear. I remember reading this book for the very first time. It was more than 20 years ago. It affected me so much that, that it shifted my paradigm about money, about my ability to create wealth, to earn money, and my ability to see and align with opportunities in life. He says here later on, getting rich is not a matter of environment, because it's exactly what I thought from the very beginning. That I was the immigrant from Poland here. Started with nothing. I saw people had beautiful boats, beautiful cars, beautiful apartments, great lifestyle, and I thought, because I'm immigrant, because I come from poor country at the time, Poland was, so I will always be poor. But this book, I choose to believe what he taught here in this book, changing my way to think of it all and change my results. Listen later on. If he says that getting rich is not a matter of environment. If it were, all the people in certain areas would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while those of other towns would all be poor. We frequently see rich and poor living in the same environment and often engage in the same vocation. So you see, it doesn't matter where you live, when you come from. in the same kind of area, the same city, the part of city, you can spot people who are even engaged the same kind of business, same kind of work, but some of them get rich, some remain poor. So it has nothing to do with the environment, with profession, what kind of business you are involved with, where you live. He says here, where two people are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remain poor. It shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. Exactly. If we study people who have gotten rich, we find that they are an average lot in all respects. So you see, he says here as well that you don't need to be extraordinarily intelligent. And I can tell you that people with great intelligence, like professors, doctors, they have, of course, a good life. They have absolutely and fantastic value for the society, but rarely get rich. People who get really rich are people who are not more intelligent when you talk from the can measure intelligent code than average person, and a lot of them don't even have or didn't have appropriate elementary education, like Henry Ford, or many others. And he says here, they get rich because they happen to do things a certain way. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things a certain way. What is the certain way? I can tell you here, because probably many of you think here, what's the certain way? Do things a certain way. I can give you example from my own life. When I started work as a salesman in Stockholm, and we were two there. One, I was working on south part of Stockholm, another guy was working on north part of Stockholm, and I make incredible results in a very short period of time. It was the American company from Texas and filiale in Sweden, NCH National Chemicals, and the division name was Master. We sold equipment, tools, and problem solving for workshops for industry. And when I understood these words from this book, when I started to work on myself, I started to see my work, my job, my what I was doing, my profession from another point of view. I saw people in this profession made really great money, and I was newbie in this time, and I started to see myself from the point of view that they were looking at them, that I could become economically free, independent. I could make really great money. That all my dreams, big boats, cars, sport cars, whatever it was, would come true. And I started to see my profession from a higher point of view, that I not only were there and try to sell something to people, but I start to see myself as an advisor, as a person who help others solve their problems and save their money, because you save problem, help someone to save problem, you save his money. You help him to earn more money. And when I started to get this attachment to my work, I started to be much more happy with what I do. I approach my customers with the feeling of joy, of happiness, and happiness is contagious. During a very short time, they just enjoy to meet me, and they enjoy to buy stuff from me. And during very short time, one of very big dreams, my dreams came true. It was that I bought the really, really big sailboat, 46 feet. It was one of the biggest boats in archipelago of Stockholm, private owned. It was mine. It was 1.2 million Swedish crowns at the time, which is about $120,000 euro. So at the time, back 20 years ago, it was a lot of money, much more than now. Today is, of course, a lot of money, but it was much more then. It was because of my attachment, what I was doing. The same time, the other guy was working on the other part of the same town, selling the same stuff, the same, doing the same environment, to almost the same kind of people or companies, and he barely made a living. It was not about what we were doing, but how we were doing it. It was a mental place that my action came from. I can give you another example. It's my favorite example. I think it was the book, it's The Richest Man of Babylon, about George Clayson. I read about 20 years ago as well. And you know, there is a man who describes three bricklayers. They were working, building a Babylon temple. And he was passing by, this man, and he asked the first bricklayer, "Hello, man, what are you doing there?" And he says, "I just putting the stones one on another and making my living." Okay. And the other one, 20 minutes later on, "What are you doing here, man?" "Oh, I'm making living, you know, and earning money earning money for my family, you know, so I'm make, buy the food for my family, you know." Okay. And he went to the third one, and he asked him, "What are you doing here, man?" And he say, "I'm building the temple for the true God, where people will praise him in safety and receive his blessings." You see, the same job, three different way to approach it, to attach to it. Now, my question to you, who of them has the most joy of what he was doing? Which one of them had the biggest, the greatest opportunity to become promoted and become some kind of boss and make more money, and over time get more responsibility and a better job, maybe in the same field? Because of course the third one was the same job, three different way to attach to the job, and you can apply it every day in business, whatever it is. In business, you know, it says, when you do work with sales, it's very easy, because you know you can measure your efficiency from day to day, because you know the number never lies. You say more or less, you can compare it. What kind of attachment, kind of way to approach the marketplace a certain day work best for you, what would give you the most rebate in form of money. So it's very easy, but you can apply it absolutely everywhere, like these three bricklayers. It was very good example. So you know why people don't they put time, they put effort, they do the same kind of physical action, but they do not put the extra touch to it that would make would make you from good to great. Because this is the difference. It's a very, very slight difference, but it's make whole difference in results. The first thing is because there's no very few people has goal in life, have goal in life. If you have goal in life, as I remember that I set the goal, I want to have the big boat, I want to have a sport car, I want to have something at the apartment in Stockholm, you know, back 25 years ago. And I came across these ideas, and I understood I can apply these ideas, and during the same amount of time I put into the job, the same kind of effort, but I will create amazing different results. You know, like Jim Rohn said, is why strong enough, how is easy. I started to do with myself whatever it took in order to create the mindset to become the person who will give me this kind of rebate and help me create this kind of life that I was dreaming of. And you know, if you do not have any vision of your future, you do not have the feeling of uh, something great, something amazing in your life you can create, you will never do what is required in order to become the person that will give you this kind of life, this kind of results. Because remember, it's not a tricky and hocus pocus. It's very simple, very easy, straightforward. The person you are gives you the life you have. So there's the answer. You must become the person that are in harmony with the result you want to get. And the bigger you become, the better you become, the more and more easily we get better and better results. Everything starts at the very first step. The very first step is buy this book and read it over and over and over again. I remember I read every chapter, not only once, not only twice, maybe 10, 15 times until, not because my English was not so as good at the time. So it was, of course, the understanding problems with everything. It was not at the time mobile phone that I could find the translation at once. It was the dictionary. But I took the time. It was absolutely worth it. You do the job just once, and you will enjoy the results for the rest of your life. Because everything what you learn, what you achieve, what you learn, what you achieve, you take with you. The quality inside of you that you invested in yourself, that you create in yourself, they will follow you for the rest of your life, everywhere. You have advantage of them. He says here something more I wanted to read you. He says, getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with people and of being where they are people to deal with. But it's about as far as environment matters. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. If anybody else in your state can get rich, so can you. Again, it's not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. People get rich in every business and every profession, while the next door neighbor in the same vocation remain poor. It's true that you will do best in a business which you like, and if you have certain talents which are well developed, you will do best in a business which calls for the exercise of these talents. But yeah, it was that, and then he talked about the level of intelligence. He says here, he says, wait a moment, get capital. Something here, because there's a lot of people who says that you need to have special gifts. Certainly difficult. The questions arise whether this certain way may not be so difficult that only few may follow it. As we have seen, this cannot be true so far as natural ability is concerned. Talented people get rich and blockheads get rich. Intellectually brilliant people get rich and very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich and weak and sickly people get rich. Some degree of ability to think and understand is of course essential, but insofar as natural ability is concerned, any man or woman who has sense enough to read and understand these words can certainly get rich. My mentor told me years ago that to get rich requires equal amount of intelligence like it requires to learn to drive a car. So if you enough intelligence to learn how to drive a car, you have the license. So you have all prerequisite to become a millionaire. Believe me. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Easter time, US. In Europe, it will be 1 o'clock at night. I will hold a masterclass about everything we're talking here, what this book is about, and some other things about the programming, some of the quiet voice that's holding you back. No matter how much you want something, no matter how intelligent you can understand on the intelligent level that you can achieve it. You see everything plain in front of you. You know how to do it. You even know people who achieved something. But when you get started, there is some start just before. There is the invisible, quiet voice deep inside your skin, in your heart that's saying, I maybe do not have what does it require. Wait for a moment. What if you fail? You know, this programming holding you back. Or when you will maybe go and approach a girl or a woman or a man, invite if I will to create a relationship because you like some person, you're single, and the quiet voice whispers again, you don't want it. Exactly. And you end up in the same circle of toxic, unhappy, unsatisfying relationship. You know what I'm talking about. Different faces, same story. So go to the link, save your spot. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much for spending a few minutes with me, and I wish you a wonderful evening and week. Ciao.